What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. We've got a small slate on the NBA today, so I'm going to take you through 3 of my favorite bets on this upcoming set. We're also going to do a giveaway for everyone who signed up for Rebet using my code, who sent me an email for it, and I'll take you through the players with the best hit rates on this upcoming set of games, talk about whether I want to take it or whether you shouldn't. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we get into the giveaway, got to recap the video that we just had. Shared 5 bets on the last video with you. Heck, I'll just show you a screenshot of it. Went 4-1 with those picks yesterday. The only loser of the day was PJ Washington. I don't normally parlay all my picks together, but I just had a feeling today was going to be that day. And it didn't happen. We got hooked. PJ Washington was the only loser of the day. Took him for over 7.5 rebounds. Finishes on 7. What absolutely sucks with 2 minutes left in the game. PJ Washington is the person who does the intentional foul so all the starters can sub out from that game. He didn't want to be there. And man, that sucked. That makes it another one of my favorite players that didn't even cash. So don't ask me what my favorite play is. It doesn't mean it's going to hit. We did have some winners though. Julius Randle over 6.5 rebounds. That was sweatier than I expected it to be, but it still cashed. Jason Tatum over his points prop. That was actually quite easy in the end. 41 points for JT? I don't like him, but he's an absolute beast. Massive triple-double. DeAndre Ayton over 13.5 points. That was a really lucky win, honestly. He finished on 14. I thought that play was dead. Checked the box score, and I was like, he got there, 14. Then we had Goga Batadze over 9.5 rebounds. Absolutely killed it today. I think 13 boards against the Miami Heat. What a crazy comeback win for the Magic, by the way. But a pretty good day. 4-1 on those bets. Hopefully you played them straight. I know I did. That $25 you can see up here, that's a quarter of a unit for me. I put $100 on each of these. I think on one of them I put $125. I think on Julius Randle. So pretty good day on the picks. But let's get into this giveaway, shall we? Let's go. All right, we're jumping into a random number generator. These are not the winning numbers, by the way. I'm going to push it. Get ready for it. I'll play some backing track time. Get us in the mood. So there's 5 winners. All right. Everyone who signed up for Rebet sent me an email. I replied back with a certain number, and that number is your entry for the draw. Hopefully your number comes up today. Without further ado, let's get it. We'll do it one by one. And I'm going to do it when I feel the beat drop. We're going to hit some numbers right here. All right. The drop is coming. Best of luck to y'all. 88. Congratulations to 88. Lucky 88. 105. Man, that's the last person who signed up. I just sent an email today. Congratulations, my friend. 28. Nice. All right, 88, 105, 28. Who we got next? 53. And the last winner for $100 is 49. Those are your winning numbers. Let me turn off the music real quick. But congratulations to y'all. That was a whole lot of fun. Honestly, the whole experience doing the draw every day, getting the emails, it gave me a good chance to talk to a lot of you guys. Like the compliment you guys give me is absolutely amazing. But just having a chance to connect with you guys has been terrific. We'll do more draws in the future. A lot of my partners have different types of incentives, so I'll think about what's cooking. I know it's almost Christmas time, so there's a lot of different Christmas incentives from a lot of these books, so I'll see what I can do. But the draw was fun. I'll reach out to all of the winners and we'll get that money over to you guys. So appreciate everyone who signed up for Rebet in the past couple of weeks. So before we get into all the bets, I ask that you like the video, subscribe to the channel because I'm dropping bangers just like this every day. We're doing giveaways. We're growing quickly. The goal is to get to 20,000 subscribers. So help your boy out. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. We're blowing up quick. Fastest growing sports betting YouTube show all over the joint. Well, in my opinion, it is anyway. We're growing like rapid fire. But the most important thing you can do for me, drop a comment down below. Get that algorithm working for me, not against me. Help push this video out to more people. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into these bets, shall we? All right, we're jumping into props madness. This is the best tool you're going to find for betting on NBA player props. I absolutely guarantee that. It's got advanced data that no other app's going to give you, from season shot charts to play type analysis to similar types of players and how they performed against their lines. You can only get that on Props Madness. So I encourage you guys to check that out. 7-day free trial in the video description below. Use the code DAFT when you sign up. You'll get 25% off. Now, I've only got a 3-game slate in this one. Not too desperate to get some picks out. So only got 3 to share with you today. In this first game, though, we're going with Domantas Sabonis. And I'm picking him to have a good game here against the Indiana Pacers. It is his old team, but it has been a long time since he played with them before he landed in Sacramento. But up against his old team today, the Indiana Pacers. And for Domantas Sabonis, I'm looking at it over in his points plus assists. So you're looking at 24.5 if you get it on DraftKings, which is great. I actually took this at 25.5. I don't think we're at risk of this moving to 26.5, so this should be available to everybody. So I'll run my numbers off the 25.5. Now, using Props Madness, I did some filtering here and managed to find how Domantas Sabonis plays in a similar types of matchup, because the matchup here against the Pacers is fantastic. We're talking about scoring the ball. Domas scoring in the pick and roll, and he's scoring in the restricted area. This Indiana Pacers team, 5th most points allowed in the pick and roll. They also give it the 5th most free throws. Those are Domantas Sabonis' main 2 types of scoring, where he gets his points from. But if you look at where he scores on the floor, 57% of his points run into the basket, and this Pacers team allow the 4th most points in the restricted area. Another thing that works in our favor is similar types of players. Alperen Sengun, Bam Adebayo absolutely smashed their points line against Indiana Pacers. And Sengun and Adebayo, not even score first type of guys, very similar to Domantas Sabonis, which is why we're looking at the points plus assists. Now, if we play with the filters here, so we know that the Pacers are an excellent matchup. They're terrible at defending all the things that Sabonis does very well. But to be conservative, to get a bigger sample size of data, let's just remove the top 10 teams in both his play type and his scoring zone. And what we can see here, plus we're going to do the defensive rating. So this Pacers team, bottom 9 in defensive rating. So we'll remove the top 10 teams in that category as well. So we've softened up the matchup a little bit. Remove the top 10 teams in pick and roll, restricted area defense, and the top 10 defensive ratings. And Domantas Sabonis is over this line in 9 out of 13 games on the season, 70% hit rate on the 25.5. So he's averaging 28.2 points and assists in these types of games. He did also go this line pretty easy against the Pacers last season, but I don't tend to look back into last season's data too much, especially in teams like this where the Kings have made such rapid changes. DeMar DeRozan does change up a lot of things. Sabonis, his points are down slightly, his assists are down as well. So I don't want to rely too heavily on that. What we're seeing this season is most important. So Domantas Sabonis, I do like this points and assists over 25.5. But if you can catch the 24.5 on DraftKings, go crazy with it. Absolutely love that as well. But Sabonis, I think he eats well here. Didn't play his best in that most recent game against the Lakers. Only 19 points, 5 assists. Shot pretty poorly, 47% from the field. But he sees a very easy matchup here. Now, you might be thinking, but this is a back-to-back. He just played the Lakers. How does he go on back-to-backs? Well, don't worry, I got you. 3 back-to-backs in these similar types of matchups. 2 against the Spurs, 1 against the Raptors. Against the Raptors, 17 points, 10 assists. Against the Spurs, 23 points, 4 assists. Then against the Spurs again, 22 points and 4 assists. And I can see him putting together a similar type of stat line. I think he gets about 21, 22 points, 5 to 6 assists here. But there's also the potential where he slightly goes under in points, dominates the assists. Sabonis is just that type of guy. So with Sabonis, I don't like betting on one of his props. It's usually 2 because the man does a lot. I'm not touching his rebounds, so I didn't go for the PRA. His rebound line just feels way too high for me. And I know he's got a pretty decent rebounding matchup, but I think the points and assists gives me a better edge. So Domantas Sabonis, that's the first pick that I want to share with y'all. In the next game, though, Houston Rockets versus Toronto Raptors. I don't like betting when the Rockets are playing. Well, not unless they have a pretty clear matchup as who's going to score points and who isn't. This Raptors team, a little bit unpredictable. They get a lot of injuries, a lot of ins and outs, but managed to find a play here for RJ Barrett. And we're taking it under today. Looking at his assists. Now, for his assist line, there's a lot of 5.5s going around at the moment. So being transparent with you guys, I took him under 5.5 assists. There is a risk of this moving to 4.5. Got to be clear on that. And if it's at 4.5, I'd only encourage you to take the under 4.5 if you got that at plus money. If you got the under 4.5 and it's like minus 105, minus 110, then I wouldn't do it. But if you're getting plus 110, plus 120 for a 4.5, then I think it's worth a look. Now, I've already got the filter set up here. It's RJ Barrett in games with Scotty Barnes. And looking at those games, he's only hit this line 3 times out of 11 games with Scotty Barnes in the lineup, averaging 4.8 assists. Now, what you could also do is play with the advanced filters here on Props Madness, because what I want to look at is assists allowed. There are some teams in this league who give up a ton of assists, and there are some that give up nothing. And the Houston Rockets give up nothing. The Houston Rockets, second best defensive rating in the league. They've got the lowest amount of assists allowed out of any team, so the matchup for assists is difficult for everybody on the Raptors. And if we use this filter to see how this RJ Barrett goes when he plays teams in the top 10 in terms of assists allowed, and check that out, he's only over in 1 out of 4 games. Small sample size, so if we go to the top 15 teams, he's only over in 1 out of 6. Now, the game where he went over was up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 8th fewest assists in the league. That was on the 25th of November, though. He got that on 13 potentials. But since then, it's been difficult as hell. I think OKC, 3rd fewest assists allowed here, and he had 2 assists. He's versing the Houston Rockets, number 1. If you look at more recent games, he's got the Knicks, 11th fewest assists allowed. He only had 4 in that game, did score a lot. And this Houston Rockets defense is going to make him do very much the same thing. The Rockets, everybody knows how they play defense. They trust their team and their perimeter players to play one-on-one with players like RJ Barrett. They're not going to help. They're not going to give him opportunities to get easy assists. They're going to make him become a scorer. And I think that's what he does in this game, especially with Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes can pick up that facilitating role. RJ Barrett's going to put his head down, try to get some buckets. I can't see him getting 6 assists in this game. So that's my second pick. And my third pick is probably the best game to bet on if you're looking at player props. Nuggets versus Pelicans. I've got a few interesting looks here. But the one that I'm going to share with you guys today is on my man, DeJounte Murray. And for DeJounte Murray, we're looking at his assist prop today. Now, we only have a small sample size of games. 12 games for DeJounte Murray on the season. He's only covered this 6 times, averaging 7 assists per game, line at 7.5. Has been hitting it quite well as of late. Now, the matchup for assists is an excellent one for DeJounte Murray. So this Denver Nuggets team allow the most assists in the league this season. They also allow the 4th most assists to point guards. They play with the 5th fastest pace, and they also have the 13th worst defensive rating. Now, if you looked at his season data, you're probably thinking, what the hell is going on here? How can you trust that he gets the over? Well, we have a few things. Recently, in his last 5 games, he's been diming up quite nicely. So there's some consistency there. The other thing to factor in is the matchup. So we just went through assists allowed on that last play with RJ Barrett using the exact same filter. What I can see here is that for the most part, in a lot of games that DeJounte has played this season, he's had some pretty difficult matchups in terms of getting some assists, and he finally gets a soft matchup. So this blue line represents the difficulty of the matchup in terms of assists allowed. You can see this one for the Denver Nuggets. It is sky high right here. That's the highest that line's going to go because the Denver Nuggets allow the most assists in the league. If you look at all the other times, his blue line has hit a certain level, a similar level, he's gone over. Up against the Atlanta Hawks, who allow the 8th most assists in the league, DeJounte Murray had 10 assists from 18 potentials. And this one up here against the Chicago Bulls, who allow the 2nd most assists in the league, he had 10 assists from 18 potentials there as well. He's been hitting this line pretty good as of late. 4 out of his last 5 games, he's gone over, and he's managed to do that against more difficult opposition, up against a team that gives it the most assists in the league. Who's to say he can't get another 10? So we only need 8 to cash this bet. Pretty decent odds for him as well. I do like it. Taking a look at whether there's movement, and I think there could be. There's probably a very small chance that this gets to 8.5. At 8.5, I probably wouldn't take it. I like the 8. I think he can still definitely go over 8.5 to get 9 assists, but I don't think it moves to 8.5, and if it does, then maybe I do move lines because I don't think anyone's going to take this bet. But DeJounte Murray, matchup is great. Recent form is fantastic. There hasn't been any changes in their lineup for quite some time. We know Brandon Ingram's out. We know that Zion Williamson is out, but that's been the case for quite some time. So their lineup is steady. Trey Murphy's been scoring. Missy's been getting it done down low. They got Jordan Hawkins back off the bench who can get some buckets. Brandon Boston's been scoring. Herb Jones had a few good games as of late as well. I think DeJounte Murray has a lot of options to get the ball to. In terms of him scoring the ball as well, if we just look at his scoring matchup up against the Denver Nuggets, now they're not very good defensively, 13th worst defensive rating in the league, but what they are good at is limiting points to pick and roll ball handlers. And DeJounte Murray scores 45% of his points in that pick and roll. So if they're going to stop him from scoring, that gives me more confidence that he's going to dime up and get a lot of assists in this game. So I do like it. DeJounte Murray over 7.5 assists is my last play. Now, don't go anywhere. We're about to go through the best hit rates on these 3 games, and I'll tell you whether I like it and whether I don't. I'll give you all my insights. I haven't pre-prepared these, so we'll see what we see. On the video I did yesterday, I think I took 3 bets out of this portion of the video. Went 2-1 on those. So we had Donovan Mitchell. He cashed his assist line. Mikal Bridges. He cashed his points line. The only loser was Jaden McDaniels in the first quarter, 2.5 points. He missed 2 wide open 3-pointers and killed that bet. But 2-1, not too bad. So I think this portion of the video is very much well worth it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Now let's get into these hit rates, shall we? Let's go. Because we only have 3 games on, I'm going to take you through more than just 2 per game. I'll pretty much take you through all the ones that have been hitting as of late, and then we can really spend some time. So we're diving in deep, boys and girls. Pacers versus Kings. What do we have in this one? Pascal Siakam, he's on my radar. Looking at his first quarter points prop, line's at 4.5. He's gone under this in 9 out of his last 10 games, which is pretty crazy. Did go over once against the 76ers, but outside of that, he's been going under. Now, having a quick scan here, he does play about 9 minutes in the first quarter, so this is going to be sweaty as hell. Does happen to take some shots too. Doesn't get to the free throw line very much, which helps. So he needs to make 3 shots in order to cash this. Not attempting many 3-pointers either. Now let's talk about his matchup. Siakam scoring a lot of his points in transition, up against the Kings, best transition defense in the league. Scores in the post, spot up, a little bit of that. Scores the majority of his points under the basket, and we know the Sacramento Kings don't allow points under the basket. So fewest points in the restricted area in the whole league. So, yeah, this under for Pascal Siakam, it's not too bad. Plus 100. So you're getting this for plus money if you got the balls to take Pascal Siakam under 4.5. This is well and truly a hit rate play because I think it's risky as hell. He's going to play 9 minutes. 9 minutes in the first quarter. Doesn't get to the free throw line, so that helps. But 2 to 3 buckets is what you're hoping for him not to make. I think when it comes down to this, one thing I like to think about is who else is going to score some points in this team. Could it be Tyrese Halliburton? His matchup's not too bad, so it could be Tyrese. Benedict Mathurin, his matchup's not too bad either. Actually, no, his matchup sucks. Benedict Mathurin and Pascal Siakam, very similar play types. Miles Turner, his matchup is very good to score some points, actually. His form is terrible, though, but his matchup is nice. So, look, I think that gives me some confidence there that there are other people who are going to need it, who can score this ball against the Kings team. It doesn't have to be Pascal Siakam. So, an under and 4.5 points at plus money. I honestly don't hate that. Let's see what else we can find before we start locking some shit in, though. The next one is TJ McConnell. Let's talk about TJ McConnell and his points prop. So he's over this in 8 out of his last 9 games. His line's at 10.5 points. TJ McConnell's a very small man. Well, he's a lot bigger than I am, but for the NBA, he is quite small. Scores a lot of his points in the paint, though, which is crazy. He gets in there, scores a lot in the paint. In that non-restricted area in the paint, this Kings team give up the most points in the league, but right in the basket, they're pretty good at defending. But let's take a look at what TJ McConnell's been doing as of late. Been playing a decent number of minutes. You can lock him down for more than 20 minutes, which is pretty good. Matchup-wise, what he has? Scores in the pick and roll, 16th fewest points, so middle of the pack. In terms of matchups, he has had easier and more difficult matchups in this past 9 games, and he's still been able to cash. Yeah, I don't know. It's not giving me... I don't have too much here. So we're saying that the matchup is average. That's what I'm saying. The matchup is average, but his hit rate is really good on it. Outside of that, I can't tell you any reason to take it. So I'm probably going to pass on TJ McConnell there. Here's one that we need to talk about is Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin. Now, Obi Toppin's been cashing me out as of late. They finally moved his line up to 11.5. I think I've hit this 3 times throughout this stretch here where Obi Toppin was getting buckets. Obi Toppin scores a lot of his points in transition, like a lot of players from the Pacers, Pascal, Benedict Mathurin. And as we went through, worst matchup you can get, the Kings, fewest points in transition allowed. He also scores 50% of his points right under the basket. The Kings, fewest points under the basket. And I hate to say it, this could be the game where Obi Toppin goes under. I'm not going to bet the under, but it's definitely, there's enough information here for me not to ride Obi back and take that over in his total points prop. So I'm going to pass on that. Like reminding you, I'm not saying to bet the under here, but I worry that this could be a game where he finally slows down. Outside of that, we've got Darren Fox. Where's Darren Fox? Looking at his assists, been pretty consistent as of late. Been hitting the over quite well, 6.5. This is a bet that I actually considered. Now, this Pacers team, middle of the league, 15th in terms of assists allowed. They do allow a lot of points in the paint, so I could see some pick and roll action. They give up, their bottom 5 or something in terms of defending the pick and roll man, which is why we're betting on Sabonis today. That my only hesitation in betting on Darren Fox assists, and I might have said this on a previous video, is going to be Darren Fox or is it going to be Malik Monk who dimes up to him? So that's my only hesitation, even though Fox has been hitting this as of late. You can lock him down for 5 assists, I think, in your bitch-ass parlays. I think that's a great number to hit. I might put a bitch-ass parlay together, who knows? But look at this for 5 assists. Just cashing like crazy. I like that for a nice parlay piece, but at 6.5, I'm just on the fence. It could be Malik Monk. It could be Darren Fox doing that pick and roll stuff with Sabonis. And I don't want to put a whole unit on Darren Fox here. So I'll pass on that one. Outside of that, we've got an under in Miles Turner. Where's Miles Turner? Here he is. Looking at under 7.5 rebounds. And check out the hit rate right here. Miles Turner under this in 8 consecutive games. Up against the Kings, who allow the 7th fewest rebounds in the league. If we check to see how some centers have gone against them. Been rebounding quite well against them lately. Jokic, Missy, Kessler. A lot of these guys have covered their rebounds line. Miles Turner, he's the guy who created the bitch or beast, really. He can be an absolute menace, but he can be real soft as well. Tough matchup for him. I wonder how he went against them last year. Let's check that out. Only 1 game against the Kings last year, had 2 rebounds in 32 minutes. That's crazy. At 7'1". So Miles Turner under 7.5 rebounds. I don't hate that. We're looking at odds at about minus 125, 120 on DraftKings. Man, DraftKings been giving out some good odds tonight. But Miles Turner under in his rebounds, I think that could be an interesting look. I just really don't want to bet unders, if I'm being honest with you guys. But look, that makes sense. The matchup is difficult. His recent form sucks. His form the last time he played the Kings was awful. His minutes as of late, not very high. He's looking at about 28 to 30 minutes, I'd say. So, yeah, Miles Turner under in rebounds. I don't hate that. Definitely leaning to the under there. So following the data into the abyss, I'm down for that for Miles Turner. Outside of that, nothing else is catching my attention in this game. Let's jump into the next one. Rockets versus the Raptors. Now, there's a couple of plays that I just thought of immediately. First one, Scotty Barnes and his three-pointers made prop. So these are his games with RJ Barrett. These are just all of his games in general. Check this out. Check out the hit rate here for Scotty Barnes. Been covering it like wild. So Scotty Barnes hitting this thing like crazy. Let's do some analysis on it. First thought, yeah, makes sense. What are we looking at? Volume 6 to 8 3-point attempts per game. Up against the Rockets, though, second fewest 3-point attempts allowed. So that concerns me. If we look at how they defend above the break and the 3-point line, top 2 and 3 in the corners, top 5 above the break. They do give up points in the pick and roll, but the question is Scotty Barnes making these threes on spot ups, or is he doing that in the pick and roll? So that you probably need to watch some film for. I'll probably watch some film on it. And if it looks good, if he's shooting these threes in the pick and roll, then Scotty Barnes, yeah, I'd take it. If he's relying on spot up shooting, then I probably won't. Somebody else who's been banging a whole lot of threes is Jabari Smith Jr. Look at that hit rate, hitting it quite well. 4 consecutive games, 9 out of his last 10. Cash it in nicely. Now, Jabari Smith Jr. makes sense. He's a spot-up shooter. He's got a pretty decent matchup for spot-up shooting. This Raptors team, they give up a lot of threes in the corner. Jabari Smith scores 12% of his points that way, so he'll probably find himself open in a corner a few times tonight. Based on his volume and his recent minutes, then, yeah, Jabari Smith over 1.5 3-pointers, I can definitely get with that. Average odds of minus 120. I honestly think that's a pretty good look. I don't mind that one at all. I'll most likely be playing that one. What's another one with a good hit rate? That isn't so obvious. I think Scotty Barnes over his assists. That's been cashing quite nicely, but similar to RJ, we're taking the under because of the matchup, but part of RJ's under is the fact that he plays with Scotty Barnes. So Scotty Barnes' potential assist volumes probably going to be there. It just comes down to whether the Raptors can make some buckets or not. So, yeah, I'm not over or under on Scotty Barnes. I'd prefer to just stay away. Another one that's been cashing nicely as of late is Fred VanVleet. Have a look at this. 5 consecutive games now he's got under his points prop. Line's at 15.5. But he has had a couple of very difficult matchups. As a pick and roll ball handler, he ran into the Golden State Warriors and OKC in 3 consecutive games. They're the teams you don't want to play if you score in the pick and roll. Had a somewhat easier matchup against the Pels, but still difficult, top 10. Now he's up against the Raptors, who are bottom 8 in the league in pick and roll defense. So I'm not down for betting an under here for Fred VanVleet. I'd lean to his over in his points prop. So that hit rate is misleading as hell. And the last one to go through in this game is Alperen Sengun. Looking at his first quarter points prop, look at this. It looks like Pascal Siakam's. Line's at 4.5. He's gone under this like 90% of the time since mid-November. His only over was against the Golden State Warriors. He took 6 shots in that first quarter. So he normally takes between 2 and 5 shots in the first quarter. Doesn't shoot a very high percentage for a big man. What's his matchup like against the Raptors? Not the best. The Raptors, 10th fewest points in the pick and roll, which is where Sengun scores a lot of his points. They do, however, give up a lot of free throws. Average when it comes to defending the post up. They're not good in isolation. Sengun under, yeah, probably. I'd lean to the under for sure based on the hit rates, but outside of that, there's no other strong argument for me to give you to take it because he's still going to play like 8 minutes in that first quarter as well. And if he sees a good matchup, he's probably going to take more shots. This Raptors team missing some size down low, so I wouldn't be surprised if Alperen Sengun comes out aggressive in this one. So, yeah, I'll pass on the hit rate on Sengun's under. Thank you very much. Let's get to the last game. We've got the Denver Nuggets versus New Orleans Pelicans. We've got to go with the hit rate man, Michael Porter Jr. Looking at his rebounds plus assists, here we go. He's hit this in 21 out of 25 games this season, averaging 9.9. Line's at 8.5. It's pretty juiced to the over on most books. My book, Bet365, has it at pretty decent odds. Could be something to look at. But yeah, hitting it really well. His matchup is nice. The Pels give up a lot of assists. They give up a lot of rebounds. He had 9 rebounds and assists the last time they played. And that was a game without Jokic and without Gordon. So, yeah, look, it makes sense. If you're just betting on hit rates, this looks like a good bet to me. I know I've betted a few times this season. The matchup's not too bad. A lot of assists, a lot of rebounds. I'd be interested to know probably by matchup, where do the Pelicans sit? So I'm looking at Fantasy Pros, and the Pels give up the 6th fewest rebounds to small forwards. So that's not great. And they're middle of the pack when it comes to assists. So the Pelicans team gives up a lot of rebounds and a lot of assists overall, but to small forwards, they actually don't give up too many at all. So that could be a hesitation. Maybe if we think about the matchup here, who's he going to most likely be defending? Michael Porter Jr., he might see a Trey Murphy or a Herb Jones. Herb Jones, if he's defending Herb Jones, he'll get a lot of rebounds. If he's defending Trey Murphy, it might be a little bit difficult. Trey Murphy spends a lot of his time outside. But if I'm the Denver Nuggets, we probably see, I don't know, Trey Murphy plays on the perimeter, but still Aaron Gordon is the better defender. It makes sense to put Michael Porter Jr. and Herb Jones. And if he is, he should be able to get a lot of rebounds. I think this, honestly, for Michael Porter Jr., for those of you who can bet live, this would probably be a good look to bet live. Just wait a couple of minutes in the first quarter, look to see who the matchup is. Who's defending Herb Jones? Who's defending Trey Murphy? Is it him or Gordon? Whoever's defending Herb Jones, I think you take them to go over their rebounds line. Like, even though the hit rate's great on this, I'm not going to bet it. I can see the risk in it. I feel like an absolute idiot if I happen to lose that bet. So I'll pass on Michael Porter Jr., the hit rate king. Someone else who's a great hit rate, though, is Jamal Murray. Looking at his assist prop here. Line's at 5.5. He's cashed this in 14 out of 20 games this season. Up against the Pels, who give up a ton of assists. 3rd most assists. Look at this. Similar types of players. 6 out of the last 7. Similar types of players have hit the over on their assist prop here. Now, this is pretty juiced. Minus 130 is the best odds that you can find for it. So this might be a play where you bet a little bit more on it. The hit rate's pretty good. I think when it always comes to Jamal Murray, you have to check status for injuries. Like, this guy always seems to have some lingering injuries around. Played 38 minutes in his last game. 38, 38, 32, 42. So minutes is fine. He's fine, actually. Now I think about it. Yeah, Jamal Murray playing a ton of minutes and he's getting these assists. There's a potential blowout risk, but 9 points, 9 point spread. He can still get this done in 30 minutes, if I'm being honest with you guys. So I think this is a pretty good look here because I looked at Jokic's assists and I haven't been able to bet on Jokic all season because who knows what that man's going to do. And his lines are so high. But Jamal Murray had 8 assists the last time they played each other. There was no Jokic in that game, though, but he had 19 potentials. So we want to do it. Let's look at games with Jokic, with Porter, with Gordon in the lineup. Now Murray's over this in only 6 out of 11, but 5 out of his last 6 games. The only game he went under was against the Clippers. That was a blowout. But yeah, I don't mind this. I think Jamal Murray to go over. I'll get that on -130. I'll drink a little bit of juice there. So Jamal Murray over his assist prop. He got my attention. Let me just write that one down so I don't forget. All right, the other one, probably the last one we look at, is going to be on Nikola Jokic, and it's actually under in his assist prop. Let's take a look at this. Line's at 8.5. He's under this in 4 out of his last 5 games. Pels do give up a lot of assists, though, so that's why we're taking Jamal Murray. But if Jamal Murray's going to get some assists as Nikola Jokic, now, yeah, for Nikola Jokic, I'm not man enough to bet he's under, despite what's happening here. It's like something happened towards the end of November and he stopped diming up. I wonder what it was. So he was missing Gordon, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon in this section here when he was just diming up like a wild person. Then Gordon came back. So all of these games, Gordon's been back in the lineup. So if we look at games with Murray, with MPJ, with Gordon, actually, let's get rid of the Murray thing. Here we go. With Porter, with Gordon, hits rate's still pretty good. Yeah. No, you'd be crazy to bet the under on Nikola Jokic on his assists, if anything. You've got to have a clear idea of how the defense is going to play him. And I don't know what this Pelican team's going to do to contain this guy. So, yeah, I'm not brave enough to bet any unders there. But, look, after that deep dive, a couple of things that I did like. I think Jamal Murray, probably the one I like the most. I'm going to look further into Scotty Barnes and his three-pointers made prop, that's for sure. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's only a small slate, so not too much action. I know there's NFL on too, so most people are going to be watching videos for that. So this will probably be the lowest view count I've had in a week. But for those of you faithful viewers who always are watching, I do appreciate you. I'm going to get this video edited, send it out to you guys. Probably deep dive a couple of other picks before I get to bed. But I do wish you guys the best of luck. I hope our slips be green tomorrow. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Congratulations to all of our rebet winners. I'll do another giveaway of some sort soon. I just got to see what the partners have on the board. And subscribe to the channel, man. Trying to get to 20,000. Help your boy out. I appreciate y'all. Catch you in the next one. Peace.